In this segment, Stephanie Miller welcomes Malcolm Nance to the program. Beyond the lies that populate all his speeches, Trump's rhetoric is now constantly dangerous as well. Threatening political opponents, the Justice Department, and investigators, among others, Malcolm Nance discusses the dangers of media normalizing the bizarre.
And you raised this in your testimony, Mr. Fahey. The opportunity cost. When Alvin Bragg did the day one memo, says we are not going to charge all these felonies, we're going to bring them down to misdemeanors and let the bad guys roam the streets of New York. How that squares with what happened here, that to me is the real issue. That's the issue that most Americans see, like, we're going to do this to the former president of the United States, meanwhile, take felony charges against really bad guys on the street and bring them down to misdemeanors. That's the opportunity cost here, I believe, in Manhattan. You get the last word, Mr. Fahey.
Yeah, exactly. When you're letting carjackers out on bail or illegal immigrants that assault police officers aren't getting prosecuted, but this is the way you're using your time, in addition to the fact you run on a soft on crime policy and then you do take the most creative, aggressive approach to this crime, it's hard to argue it's anything other than a political motivation.
Okay, I got a lot of ground to cover. I do want to clarify, Mr. Fahey, when you consistently talk about or New York crime, you're speaking in an opinionated stance. You're not speaking from a place of fact, correct?
No, I'm speaking from a place of facts.
Okay, well, let me clarify for you. Thank you so much. I'm reclaiming my time. Let me clarify for you that NYPD puts out reports. And in April, it said overall index crime across New York City dropped another 4.9%. As it relates to May, the report says overall index crime across New York dropped another 2.4%, and June's report hasn't come out. I would ask for unanimous consent to enter this into the record.
Jasmine Crockett. You retweeted Isaiah Martin, who said, I'd like to reiterate that the Black Caucus has not wavered 1 inch in their support for President Biden, not an inch. They understand the stakes of this election. There's no time to play around. It's time for everyone to unite to beat Trump and his Project 25 foolishness. Hear.
Yeah.
So Malcolm, I don't know if there's any senior chief orders, but you know. By the way, just let me read one last one you retweeted. Call me crazy. I think millions of voters rejecting a plot brewed up by the media and the podcast boys to overthrow the incumbent Democratic president and nominee is a great omen for the election. Someone said they did not expect the voters to have President Biden's back like this. Really blew up the nobody actually likes Joe Biden real quick. I sense that, Malcolm, among my listeners, just a rage that we have already had our primary and chosen our candidate.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. You know, what I got out of this for the first couple of days, especially when the New York Times did their op-ed, there was this race in op-eds, and you could feel it. The news media had decided they will choose the next president, and that they will get Joe Biden's scalp, and that they want to make sure that, you know, you could see individual journalists were saying, if I write the decisive op-ed, if I write the decisive statement, I can say I got rid of Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. Not for Donald Trump, but for their own egos.
Yeah.
All right. Everything I write is a warning. Everything Ruth Ben-Ghiat writes is a warning. You know, but sometimes I don't know whose side Stephen Schmidt's on.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I don't know whether they understand.
He's a mercenary. You know.
I'm just saying, though, that sometimes I don't understand, you know, if they're as terrified of the loss of American democracy as I am, and again, I take it personally, being a Philadelphian, personally.
Yeah. And by the way,
then why are they wasting all of their resources assisting Trump with this narrative?
By the way, just to your point about journalism, this headline, elephant in the room at NATO, would Trump blow it up? Spoiler alert, yes! He said he would blow it up. This week's summit in Washington will look, without saying so explicitly, to Trump-proof NATO by expanding the role of the alliance. The entire world is terrified that we might do this again. Malcolm?
Yes, they are. And then, you know what? NATO's here this week to Trump-proof NATO, where the United States will not be the principal or the principal ally, to where NATO will be collectively 31 countries prepared for America to screw them over We invented NATO. We organized NATO. We protected the world. And now we have Americans who are like, we don't care about the sacrifices and loss of American service members who have fought with NATO, or the NATO allies that fought on our side in Afghanistan, where, like Jim Stavridis said, Admiral Jim Stavridis, he had to write letters to hundreds of parents of dead NATO soldiers who came to our aid in 9/11. We are so self-serving and so selfish that we don't care about how we're seen around the world. We don't care about what happens there. And I'm going after every damn one of you genocide Joe Biden people who have made this possible. All right? You may find yourself in one of those Trump camps. You may find yourself at a protest where the National Guard is authorized to shoot you dead. All right, and where patriotism, where your loyalty to the president of the United States, to Donald Trump, will determine whether you live or die. I have never said anything like this in my life. Yep. I have never evaluated intelligence indicators like this and seen such a dangerous pathway as we are right now. I feel like Thomas Paine, who is going to his bunker and getting his goddamn musket now, because it's that dangerous.
Yep. By the way, since you brought it up, I just thought I would see if there's a setting higher than 11 on your shoutiness. But someone sent me a thread, I think, that goes right to your point, Malcolm. And just whatever your single issue is, someone threaded, I guess, if you voted for Hillary, you've been exonerated. If you did not vote for Hillary, it's your fault. This is your America because we saw it coming in 2016, fighting Dems. Hashtag vote blue. Someone said, CC extreme Bernie bros and their protest votes. And then a young kid said, I won't lie. In 2016, I voted third party. I was 20 in college, and I thought I could really do something radical. I was passionate and naive. I regret it every day. However, I'm committed to voting for Biden. I hope everyone else can, too. And the other person responded, those young progressives are now about to make the same mistake you did. They are screaming Genocide Joe. I hope not. I mean, there's a number of things I'm terrified that could happen in this election, Malcolm. But, that's... yeah, go ahead.
My fellow brother from the city of Philadelphia, Benjamin Franklin, I can feel how it felt on the edge of the revolution where he said, we will all hang together or we'll all hang alone, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we stick together or we all hang together. So I can't remember the phrase because I'm so freaking angry right now. This is not a joke. This is not
we stand together or we hang alone.
That's where we decide whether we're adults. Right.
Yeah.
And we decide whether we're adults and we are going to save this nation